Hey man, glad you could make
Wow.
it. Welcome to the Now Africa podcast. It's just one of the first few. You're the first one right now, and I'm super happy
Hmm.
to have talked to you earlier in this week. And I would love for you to introduce yourself there.
Hello, everyone. I am Nwosu Stanley Ikenna. I'm a creative director and fashion designer, also a fashion stylist from Lagos, Nigeria. And most times when people tell me to introduce myself, it's always like, what's more to say? Because I can go on and on and on and on. But I mean, if I'm being asked questions, then it
Give
makes
me
more
all.
sense.
Yeah, give me all.
Uh, So I'm a fashion designer, creative director, works with amazing talents out here. Also like helped in like brewing talents too, and like taking them from one point of their career to another point of career, another point in their career. And I mean, I'm more about as much as being a businessman, more about making an impact with everything I create. Telling stories, intentional stories that can like transcend greatness beyond generations. I always like to put it that way because, like, in the real sense of it, I always want everything I do and everything I'm a part of to like live beyond me. I mean, we know we're going to have live a very bountiful and long life, but like the things that we create should actually last more than us, because in the real sense of it, God has given us all the power, so it's just for us to like be limitless to our creation and our
Good.
impact.
That's epic. That's epic.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where really the great things come out. Because when you're in like an infinity game, you're not looking for like quick success or you're not looking for like a trend. You're kind of like going evergreen. And for that kind of vision, you have to have a very long-term aspect to it. And I think like as a creative director of any sort or anyone who is nurturing an artist, that's kind of like a really good guideline to like go about in life instead of having pressurized on like getting trends or just doing things to make the quick buck or make the quick fame.
Yeah.
So I appreciate how you look at this. I really wonder with all of this creative direction, there's so many layers you have to go through to basically call yourself a creative director, right? Like you have to start small or you have to start somewhere. I wonder where is it that all of this stuff that you are saying, you had
Ah.
to layer it. How did you start this stuff? Where's your journey
Yeah,
from?
so I mean, you have to first become a creative before you become a director, you
Yeah.
know. So I mean, creating the first aspect of creating started from me just like putting up clothes, like putting up pieces together as a child, like looking fashionable. Then I started to take pictures with my phone in uni. That was like my first. Then I started to model. Then I started to style people's collections. And I started to create my own designs and become a fashion designer.
Did you
All up
study that?
until, yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Oh,
all up
what
until like
university were you
being,
at?
pardon?
What university did you study fashion designing
Oh,
in?
I went to Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and I studied electrical electronics engineering.
Oh, damn. That's not fashion design
Yeah.
at all.
Nah, it's no, but I feel like it kind of like helped me with my fashion because like as an engineer, you are like very solution oriented.
Right.
So like in that's my approach to design. Like everything I have to do has like be preferring a solution to a problem.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That brings like a very logical way of going about solving solutions in like fashion. And like
Yeah.
something like how like what Kanye's Easy is like, like
Exactly.
no laces. It needs to be either zip or Velcro.
Exactly.
What kind of thing
Just
is like
basically
that?
have Yeah, just basically having your own design ethos, because like those are the things that guide you. Because it's about having a structure, like a ground base of what you want your design. I remember watching an interview where Kanye was speaking, and he said like, he went to make them Yeezys look spectacular, and he said he went for a design that looked like a Lamborghini. So the Yeezys were like more like a shoe. If a shoe or footwear was meant to be a Lamborghini,
Yeah.
that's like the same prototype. So those are the kind of things that like that spiral creativity in terms of like in a longevity type of way, because like that there's already a ground based structure for you to build on. because like also I like to make reference to Kanye because he's one of my favorite creatives, and like he's a visionary in every ramification, and saying like he said this thing one time that art is never finished, you know, and like more of like you taking because the whole world is like a mood board.
Yeah.
Everything we see is a mood board for us to create, you
Hundred.
know, and like having to like create pieces or having to create things off of inspiration you get in nature or like in your everyday surrounding or in like conversations with people or more of like from history. That's like so beautiful and that's the art of it is so beautiful to me.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
And did you start all of this in while you were studying in your uni? Like, did you start your brand?
Yeah, I started creating proper like so professionally while I was studying as an engineer. Yeah.
Mm. And I'm sure your brand has got way more success. Otherwise, you'd be an engineer right now, not a creative director.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, at first, I can't even lie. At first, it was all God's grace because like the first piece I ever made was like won by a superstar at that time by Mr. Easy.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
great.
having yeah, that was 2016. Like I made the hat and I found him at a wedding and like he took the hat from loved my designs and like started to rock it, wore it to a show in Sweden, made a video and like
Yo,
since I got the video and like all my like the designs were going crazy. I was making like super sales and like at that point it just made me understand that like maybe I was just made different for it. And like considering the fact that I've had like very, very intentional stories in regards to like it wasn't always rosy, It's never rosy to be honest, especially when you're trying to create something that has to stand the test of time. But the fact that at first I started to have like some form of support from people that like I used to look up to and be like, these are superstars, these are guys that are like doing it big. And like still they support my work, support my crazy ideas. Cause like trust and believe. My ideas be crazy sometimes to me and I love it because I mean it's the fun of it. Like if it shouldn't be regular. It shouldn't be
definitely.
because I remember a hat at that time that I made was the one Mr. Izzy was like fuck virgins. I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
That's crazy, man. I did not know that. Mr. Easy were your first piece. I think I can't even believe how it would feel because like coming from like an electrical engineering, what you were used to do as a kid to like make to look fashionable and then you
Mm.
make your brand and the first one hits in a really, really big place. I think that's really commendable. How did Mr. Easy even find your work? Like when you put out your first thing, you don't really expect it to reach out there.
Yeah, no, like he found me. I found him. I found him in a wedding performing.
Oh,
Yo, it was a wedding, like, yeah, some dude I grew up with was having a wedding. He brought Mr. Isis to come perform. And
yeah.
apparently he's friends with like Mr. Easy's manager. And like I just told some guy because they're like older guys, they're not in my age grade. So I told some dude that was in their age grade, his name is like P Stakes. He was one that walked up to Easy, told him about my brand. I said, "Oh, you need to see this guy's design." Mr. Easy liked it. The first question is he asked me was like, do you produce a lot of this? I told him yes. At that time, my production wasn't a lot to be honest, but I said yes because I mean I like to think big. Yeah, I would like to make lots of pieces, But at that point,
Can't say
my
no.
capacity was
You
just to
can't say, oh
produce.
no, it's really small.
Yeah, yeah. I said yes. I said yes, and like he wore it. He even did a Snapchat video wearing the hat, and I took screenshots of the video, and it went.
Dude, that
You
is
know,
epic. That's epic.
yeah, you know how hype culture is. Like, you just want to see a superstar wear shit, and like they be like, "Oh, I want that piece too."
100%. And then you must have seen like
Yeah,
a bunch of people gathering like eyes on you and coming to your like, did you already have a page back then? Did you have at least like a
yeah. I
show?
already, I already had a page. I already started work. I already had a page. I had some form of presence, and it was not just mistakes. I made sure that I was on the road. I had like superstar stylist Ugo Mosier and like supermodel Victor Indigwe rock my pieces, and like it just kept created a frenzy. It created a frenzy while I was in uni, and like people were like they just understood something different about me and like could were like liking to everything I created at that time, and like, it's just been a progression from that. And for me, it's to me it's very beautiful to see because like I feel so humbled having like been associated with like names like that, you know, in every ramification. I feel so humbled because I feel like it just takes God's grace, to be honest. You know,
100%. Man.
yeah,
Sometimes it hits the right places. Like you were in the right place. You made the effort to actually like go and talk to somebody. Like a lot of people feel hesitant to go out there, put themselves out there. But I think like what you can learn from here is like you just have to go out and talk to the people. If you do not do that for yourself, then how is someone else gonna come believe in you? You have to like have so much
100.
faith in you to go out there and speak the best about your brand. Say yes when you probably are not gonna say yes, but and then figure things later.
Yeah,
Things definitely like allow you to access that luck because I think luck can happen to a lot of people, but you have to be ready.
true
And
that.
you can have a lot of luck in life, but if you're not ready, you're not gonna walk that door.
True, true. Very, very true.
Dude, that's amazing to hear that. How did you go about like getting into music? Because I heard you're a creative director of NSB Entertainment, right?
Yeah.
How did
Uh,
music? Like I
I
know you
mean,
work with musicians.
yeah, because I work with musicians and like I have been embedded in like some success stories of like a couple of musicians and like I've worked with DM Records. DM Records is Maya's label. And like while I was there, I was like the fashion stylist under the record label and like so embedded in like a couple of other teams, like promotions and like strategy, you know. And A&R too, because like every time there was new music, they always wanted me to hear it. Always wanted my opinion, you know. And like having built on that success was what created the platform for me to be a creative director with NSB. And like it's been, I mean, it's just been beautiful. Like I mean, you know how it is with every endeavor. Like there will be ups and there will be downs, there will be challenges, and like, well, in all, it's just the beauty of creating the art and working with people and like understanding that people are like different in every ramification, but yet again, we're all the same in like under one consciousness, you know, and
100%.
like, yeah, understanding that and just telling ourselves like, yo, we're here to build. As much as there's so much success, but we're still building,
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, I'm all
definitely.
about building these blocks, you know.
Dude, that's epic. I feel the same, man. Like when I mean, I work with a lot of Indian musicians as well. In India, I've also been working since I was in uni. I'm a graphic
That's
designer,
great. That's
and
great.
doing small posters up to doing like festivals and then like actually been able to nurture some artists and find out what their brand identity is. And I think that really like helps an artist feel more, I think like with more ammunition when they come in to create. Because when they have a vision,
Yeah,
have a team, or when they have somebody to bounce those ideas off, it can really build those kind of like ideas much stronger in your head. And as an artist, when you have somebody who can guide you in some, discussions, because you have million options. When you're making like music, you can go a million ways, right? Any creative, you can always go there. But as
yeah,
direction, it's so important to have trust in the people that you're talking to, and also like know that they are looking out for the best version of you. So
true.
creative direction for music is something I'm super fascinated by. What have your been like intakes on how did you go about working with NSB? Like, what kind of inputs do you like get or give to the artist there?
Yes, what I try to do is more of like first of all counseling, because like I feel like every talent needs counseling in the real sense of it, you know, and like also um more of like shaping the sound, you know, because like I feel like in the process of creation, just having to get things out there as refined as possible. So it means you know it's like looking at music as a product, you know, and like for the product to have like wild acceptability, it has to be refined in every ramification. So more like how is it projected to the audience? How do they receive it? And like how is the energy? Like is it high energy? Is it low energy? You know, like all of that, like all the aspects of being embedded in the creation of a product. Because I always like to call it a product. Because
Yeah.
anything you create in this world is a product. Because like you want people to like accept it. You want
Yeah.
people to use it. You want people to like feel it. It's like also energy too. So all of that, like strategy, counseling, grooming, A&R. That's all I do. That's all I do. And even more. But like, we have to be humble about it because, like, in the real sense of it, we do nothing actually. God does all. I always like to give God all the praise.
Fair. We execute the ideas that are borrowed, I guess. Because the ideas
Yeah,
to everybody. Everybody has the ideas. Like it's just the people who
true.
go around and execute it. How long did it take the process for Inaki for the song family? Like when were you involved in this and how did you guys come around finding this artist?
Yeah, I feel like Anarchy was founded by a mutual friend, you know, and like he kind of like brought her material to us and like had us like listen to her stuff and like she got signed to because NSB is owned by my friend. His name is Ife Anthony and like he's based in the UK. So
Oh,
like yeah, but he's Nigerian, like in and out, but like he's currently based in the UK because he's doing his masters there. And
right.
like yeah, he just told me about his like idea of wanting to like start a label, a management company called NSB Entertainment. And apparently we had a mutual friend called Timbika and like he like just told us about and like because we're actually looking for talents to sign and we went through like a bunch of material from different talents and like her material stuck, you know, like all she was trying to do stuck with us and like her her story from how she like left home in Bielsa to like come down to Lagos to like grind all of that, like everything made sense, like it connected, and like when we listened to the material, like how passionate she was, like everything she did, like made more sense to us. Like just this is someone that wants to like be at the top of what she does, and like why not? Why not? So I think it was quite an easy decision for Ife to say to like to make, in the real sense of it, because I feel everything's all about the drive. If you have the drive to do something, you do it.
Dude, that's epic. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because the more hunger you have, the farther you want to really go. And
Yeah.
committed you are to something that's long term. You have to absolutely love what you're doing and to really make it go long term. And when you're kind of faced with struggle, it kind of helps you build a stronger relation to what you really want to do. And
True.
I mean, sure, you can expand on like how what were her struggles in the start. And I mean, she's just 20 years old, right?
Yeah, she's just 20 and like, yo, she got material, she got songs.
Dude, that
She
song,
got
Emily,
yo.
so good. It's so good. I listen to it
Yeah.
almost like daily. It is on my shuffle and it keeps going on. And every now and then when I hear it, I just get reminded of the story that she's just 20 and she has this is her first song that's come out, which is already so tight and it has like roots for such a great artist. And the video is really cool. Did you also like plan up the video? Like what was this process of from when
The video was like input from so on the team, like it's on the team, there's like visual directors, there are A&Rs, there's like creative director. I'm creative director on the team, also a stylist on the team. There's like a whole bunch of guys on the team, So like we all put heads together to make whatever output, the visuals, whatever aesthetics or what her page is saying, or like what photo shoots it has to do. Like there's always an in tune and in-depth deliberation on how to portray or like portray the message we want people to get visually, So there's a whole team behind Anarchy.
yeah,
Yeah,
that really helps because when you have a team, when you have people who can shoot, create directors and stuff like that, it really helps you get a boost on a career. Because a lot of times, like I mean, I look at a lot of artists from Africa who don't have that team around them, who are still doing their best. And even though they have the sound, when they don't have the team, it's kind of like a struggle to get that recognition faster, but also just to get the finessing on how they look as a brand does not come out until a bigger stage. Like, how does it work in Lagos? How many of you are out there helping artists and like
Yo,
still
that
already in their first track? How many of you guys are out there? Come on, tell me.
you mean like how many of creatives are out here in Lagos?
No, no, no. Like, the perfect package team, which is like to also not just work on artists who are already with like, an EP ready or album coming out, uh, recognize talent, to groom them in their first one, and also put so much energy and effort and time into one artist. How many such labels and communities are out there?
Ah, I feel like of recent it's just been like more in-depth and more intense procedures with regards to like how labels operate, you know, and like it's become more commonplace with like having people having structures within their labels. It didn't always used to be like this. So I kind of understood that it was more of like when the world started to become like a global village, and like there started to be like a transfer of information within different cultures. You know, people start to understand that we need to do the things, we need to do it proper, you know,
Yeah,
we need to do it proper. And
100%.
like that like put us in like a more coordinated place to make things happen in the real sense of it, to make things happen in a more structured manner to
Yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And how many years ago did you like see this happening around you? Like,
It's been happening for a minute now, but like as I say, well of 3 to 4 years now that I feel like these starts happen like on a very vigorous scale. I could say 10 years, but like that's me. I mean, for it to be more commonplace, 3 to 4 years ago, you
that's
know. Cause like yeah, cause that's when Afrobeats as a genre started to like get more global recognition, and
100%.
like we started to see people like we started to understand that oh, people had blueprints that they followed, you know, of successes of like stories they've had or like they've heard about, like people they've seen in like other countries and how like they've been able to like portray their sound to the world, you know. But now it's like for the past 3 years it's been very vigorous and like it's only going to get better. We're seeing bad niggas like Rema. I mean he's not bad, he's like a superstar, but like I'm seeing like things like labels like Mavens,
Yeah.
labels like Chocolate City that has Black Bones, labels like uh what's it? I'm trying to spotlight indigenous labels, you know. So to be honest, a bunch of them, to be honest, you
Well,
know.
Lucas is
Yeah.
filled with creatives. Like I think like every third or fourth track that I have on this playlist is from Lagos. And I just wonder, like, for density of a city, is this really one of the closest that comes to the highest creative density per population of that city, man?
Yo, crazy. There are so many creatives everyone's creating. Everyone, even if they're doing something different, doing a 9 to 5, they're also creatives. You
Yeah.
also now it's more of like I always tell people that the creative economy will save Nigeria. People don't understand this thing. So because we're an oil-based economy and like Nigeria has a vast gift in like natural and human resources. But now it's more understanding the fact that Nigerians love to create, amidst the hardship they face. They
Mm.
love to create, even with the little they have. And that's the thing. It's just the drive to do, the drive of being, the drive of doing this, you know, creating. That's what's going to save us as a people. We don't get it, but I feel like the few people that do, and they're making good use of it, harnessing it, and making chunks of millions of and billions of this. But when other people catch up, when they finally do it, to be like a widespread knowledge. But for
Yeah,
now, those that have the idea, those that have seen the light, they keep shining the light and trying to reflect it to others. You know.
that's true. That's true. when you were like doing a lot of creative styling for artists because you got Mr. Easy wearing your stuff, you had Victorious wearing your stuff. How did you like make sure that you like when you have creativity going on, but you have like a lot of people coming in at the same time, how do you manage to keep it different every single time for different artists?
Uh,
I'm assuming everybody doesn't want the same thing, right?
yeah, it's more of like having an attentive mind, paying attention to details because like people have different personas, people have different perceived brand, you know, because it's all about perception,
100%.
and like people want to be seen differently,
Yeah.
and like it's more of like because everything I create, as far as it stems out of me, it has to be at a midpoint with what the brand story of whoever I'm working with is,
Yeah.
or what the particular message of that particular project is, or what
Yeah.
we're trying to create at that point is. So like it's more of like accepting accepting like coordinated feedback from the talent you're trying to work with and like bringing a touch of yourself at every point, as much as I like to make, oh, this has to be different from this, but the fact that there has to be some signature from me, embedded in it. That's it for me because like I tell people I can work with whoever. They be like some one time the other day I met Melissa, and you should check her out
I
too.
know Melissa.
Melissa.
I
Yeah, I
know
met her. I met
Ghana.
her. I met her. Yeah, I met her at the beach. First time I was meeting her because I speak to her manager Uche, and like he told me about
I
her. And
got
I
to
told
know
her,
about Melissa as well.
pardon?
I got to know about Melissa through Uchi as well from the page.
Yeah, yeah, Melissa. Uche told me about Melissa. I told Melissa, yo. She asked me what do I do. I told her I'm a fashion stylist. She's like, oh, do I style both male and female? I told her I style animals too. I'm like, I basically can work with anybody, anything at any time. It's just basically what is the project at hand? What's the story at hand? What are we trying to work with? What are we trying to portray? What are we trying to give the world? Like what is the vision for it?
I
What's the
think that's
vision
the
and the
right way.
mission?
That is the right way, like for a creative to evolve, like what you said, something that might be so normal to you, but is not really so normal in the creative industry, is understanding feedback. Like if you
Yeah,
take things personally, like if you hold on to just your craft being one type of craft, then you're not really growing because you are basically shutting off all the other doors that come to you. Because you're just like possessive of this one particular craft and
true.
truly understand what it is to take feedback or what it is to actually create for a vision. That's when you can actually take a creative or a good critiquing feedback that can make
Yeah,
sense for like when you're collaborating with brands or musicians, because everybody has a style, and
true.
to not get boxed in one style, you're gonna have to find a way to come together, and the faster or the better you can come close to the shared vision that you have for your piece, as well as for the person who's going to wear it, it's really going to be even more that they will talk about it, or that they will feel pride in just like wearing that because it also represents them.
True.
that's a great
True.
that's a great way to be a creative. I'm really learning a lot from you for that, because we all can take into that, which is when you're doing creative stuff, you have to understand what are you creating for. If you don't have
Yeah.
that vision, then it's lost upon.
Very true. Very true.
That's epic. You're telling me about, so like, of course you're doing stuff with musicians and stuff, but also you're creating like capsules for yourself. And you were saying
Yeah.
in a fashion show, you had arranged it all by yourself. Tell me about the journey.
Yeah.
Why did you have to create it firstly all by yourself? Like the whole,
You mean like created my fashion show?
yeah. But there are
Uh
places that you could.
funny thing is like I keep saying this, like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's gatekeeping or I don't know what it is to be honest. But like sometimes you try to like reach out to like shows, best shows out here in Nigeria, like they be like it's just basically quiet. And like most times it's not like because of your work is not like as profound as it's meant to be, but more of the fact that
it probably doesn't. You know how when maybe you submit a publication to like a magazine and it doesn't really sit with what their content is about at that time, and and people always want to fuck with things that have clout in the sense of it, like more of like, I don't know how they say it, but for every rejection I get, I always create something to counter whatever she get me. That's how I am. If you're a graphic designer, I tell you, oh, let's do shit, and you say no, tomorrow I'm turning into a graphic designer and tell you that yo, I can do this, and you're not going to do anything about it. That's how I am.
Shut up.
I believe, yeah, I believe in the real sense of it, I can do anything and everything because it's all within. Like you can do everything and everything is all within you. Even only, if only you let yourself be. If only you let yourself do that thing. To be honest, so creating a show, I even had to like go like intern or like be embedded in another show just to even learn how to create a show. So I remember like even with Lagos Fashion Week, I know that I'm still going to showcase on that show, Lagos Fashion Week, but like I'm just gonna give it time. Let's marinate, But I remember reaching out to like one of the strategy ladies there. Um she went to the same like secondary school with me, high school with me. I reached out to her like, yo, I want to showcase and all of that. She put me on their green access program. So it's a program where we like learn stuff. Like we have teachers from around the world come teach us during the time where it's Lagos Fashion Week for people to showcase and like they teach upcoming brands. I was on the program.
That's it.
Very few people are like put into the program. You have to be really gifted to be put into the program. So I was on the program, but like they didn't let me showcase. I'm like, I feel some type of way. Like, yo, you put me here, that means I'm good. But like, why did you let me showcase? Like, maybe I'm not ready to showcase. Maybe at that time I wasn't ready. So it's a time thing. So I decided to like create my own shit, to like learn and give people a platform. But so far so good. It's been amazing. It's been like a journey that reveal Lagos. It's been a journey where I just had to like learn a lot, you
Well,
know. And I always take everything in life as a learning curve because I'm in life to learn. I always tell people like, yo, I'm a student for life. I am a student of life. I'm in this life to learn. I might be like I might know shit about something. I might know something about something. But like the fact that I know something about something doesn't mean I'm not willing to learn about that thing. Like, you get me? Like, it's more of like me understanding that I can never know it all.
yeah,
So I just want to learn.
yeah,
So
yeah.
even in situations, I just try to like give a lending hand. Because I remember working on VVS their first show, working as like I handled like a documentary that's still in the works. So I handled like visual. I had to like get my guys out like visual curators. It came like created the story on how like we wanted the show to be perceived as part the documentary of it, you know. And like that was what that whole experience made me decide that, oh, I need to start up Reveal Lagos and start up something, you know, like this the flair I had creating that or like working on that show made me understand that, oh, I need to do something for myself.
Tell
And
me about
I need that flair.
I want to know about like, so while you were also creating Legos, what was the kind of showcase like? What was it that what was your theme, or if you had like a certain thing that you were showcasing?
Yeah, so like the first showcase was I mean, as the name implies, reveal means to unveil. So yeah, to showcase, you get me. So the first idea was basically off of like trying to like create a platform for like other my brand and other select brands to showcase their pieces. But all through like I've just had 2 editions of Reveal Lego and it's just been my brand because I've reached out to other brands and like they've not been ready. So I understand this thing that sometimes maybe timelines are actually very different. You might be ready for stuff and the next person might not be ready for it. But I've had those people like come support me in some way they can. So the first show was held at Lagos Island. It was at a very crazy time, like in the economy in Nigeria, where there was scarcity of cash. Like people, there was no cash anywhere. Like I don't know what happened at that time, yeah, but it was crazy. February this year, there was scarcity of cash
What
in
do you mean?
Nigeria.
Why was this happening?
Like there was no access to fiat, physical money.
But why? Why did that happen? Like, was it?
It was a policy introduced by the government to counter uh vote rigging.
Okay.
So it created a whole frenzy in the country. It created craziness. People couldn't understand. It was the first time it was ever happening.
And
I told
everything was
myself that pardon?
was everything like all your transactions had to be digital.
Online transactions, and you know how it is now. The system couldn't carry as much. You understand? It's like an overload. Do you get me? Like, it's the first time people are actually focusing strictly on online transactions, and it was an overload of it. So at that point, it created this brunt in my body. I was like, oh, I need to do something that I need to actually do a showcase at it. I need to create something at this time. So I named the collection and like the whole showcase. The theme of it was called Untu, and like in because I had just lost my dad the year preceding this year, and like I had this feeling of like I was feeling down, feeling like feeling some type of way, ashes. Unto means ashes. So I was feeling like, oh, like I needed to let go. I needed to be rebirthed out of the feelings of pain I felt, you know, and all that was happening in regards to no cash. I needed to be out of it. I needed to burn all my pain and transcend that into greater joy. So that joy could only come by taking up a project that is bigger than me. You know, a project that I haven't done before that would like stretch my mind.
Right.
You know, a project that would like, yo, that would be so impactful. And it was impactful. It was. It is till now because like it's still on. We're still on. We're still doing Reveal Lagos till, you know, till
Yeah.
as long as we can.
So the first one that you did was in February this year.
Yeah, it was in February. We did it on the streets of the streets of Lagos Island. It was crazy. Like, yo, people don't do things like that at that time.
How did
You
you?
don't even.
What was the reception of this thing like? Because I'm sure this was a one-off fashion show that does not happen there, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah. So how did you gather
So the
people?
community, the people there, because like you know how Lagos is. I don't know. You need to be in Lagos to understand what
I
Lagos
need
is
to know. I
about.
need to be there. No, no idea. You have to tell me.
Yo, Lagos is crazy. But like doing a fashion show on the streets of Lagos Island was like super intense. That's the word. First things first. You know, because like it was a street that had the central bank. It had like the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Oh
It
shit.
had yeah, I did on custom street. So I had to like I had to like be embedded. Like I had to like I don't know how I did it, but like I just had like people in my military, like Nigerian military, with me, my friends that I went to, because I went to a military secondary school. So I had my friends that were already in military be with me there. And like that was even the day the Central Bank of Nigeria's governor, like the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, came to the streets. I came to the Central Bank office in Lagos at that time on that specific day, just because of like the whole cash thing. They were trying to like rectify everything,
And you were having a
and the
fashion
show
show.
was happening. Yeah, so it was more of like a clarion call to people for people to understand that the creative scene cannot be stopped regardless of whatever is happening in the country. We don't care. We're gonna create still. Like if you like try to create policies that doesn't favor us, against all odds, the creative community must succeed. Why? Because it's more of like you showing expression like God. God is the creator of all. So is you creating as you being a creative in any sphere that you create, being like a fashion designer, a musician, a graphic designer, or voiceover artist, however creative you want to get, like is basically you being an extension of God, and it can't be stopped.
100% man. Because creation, like it's literally like creating magic. It is something that comes out of your head and gets into reality. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. All creators are part, like gods in themselves, I guess. Um, how does the government support the creative scene in Lagos, like in Nigeria generally? Is it
I kind of I feel like it's gotten better, to be honest. It wasn't always like there wasn't always like so much support from the government, but I can see bare fund schemes coming up because they understand. You know how that's why I keep saying like when you can't stop something, you have to join it. So
Yeah.
the creative industry in Nigeria now is more like it's more like a raging force. You know, like
Yeah, and I'm
our
sure the
artists.
government sees it too, like so many artists coming out of there, so many creatives. The industry must be so big in itself because if you have so many number of like big artists, that means there must be so many more of smaller and just sporadic groups of artists. And I'm sure the government takes a note of that. Like, what kind of schemes do you like have you seen in your have you been like helped with some grants or stuff like that?
I have like applied for grants and like I've even been embedded in like a bit of there was one time one lady, she's a PR lady, Kitty Sade, shout out to her. She sent me because she was working with like the British Council at that time. So she sent me um some competition thing, no like new narratives um of like you telling stories through your art or what you wanted to do, like or what you do in the real sense of it. So I did like a short documentary on how I'm a fashion designer. I went to like where I buy pieces or where I buy like materials to make my pieces, you know, and like I felt it was a competition for like the Commonwealth, like especially African countries that like were colonized by the Britain, like uh I could see like entries from Nigeria, entries from Kenya, entries from like all of the countries, and like that's something I've been a part of, and like I submitted my story and it got lots of reviews when I put it out, but like I think someone else won the competition, you know, and as much as it is, it's more of like there are like more programs like this. I saw there was one by Africa Development Bank where they kind of like did an incubator scheme for like creatives and all of that. So like more of the stores are coming up. There's just a need for it to be more mainstream because like for bustling industry and like an industry that's like that has this much vigor, the government has to be embedded in it for us to like create more intense and more intentional um processes, because like it's more of like if the government is embedded in things like this, then it becomes more commonplace, it becomes more revenue for like a whole
Yeah, the ecosystem.
global, you get me? Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And the more people that come out of there, it only gets better for the country as well to
yeah,
mm, system in place for their creators, for the people that come out of there, and the kind of talent that's coming out of there. Definitely.
yeah.
That's it. How do you go about finding these grants? Like if you had to tell like somebody who absolutely doesn't know how to even get there, because if there are not easy places or platforms that help you get grants, like how do you go about finding them, or how can one go about finding them?
uh Most times I don't know, I just, to be honest, how I see them is more of like through Instagram, and like, or if someone sends it to me, I don't know how to go about searching, but the thing is I feel like people need to go, there are like pages on Instagram that actually like create these grants, and like their platforms like African Development Bank. Someone can follow the African Development Bank and see like if they have anything, just be on the lookout. Or someone can go to like Nigerian British Council and follow that page and see if they have anything in the works. Just basically like following all these like platforms or like institutions that create more like intentional efforts to give out grants.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
research has to go into it. I've been like, I've also been trying to find like other places or easy ways to find maybe like a website that helps me with grants, or have like one place where you can like understand an easy way of applying grants that are still like logical to you. Because there are grants from everywhere when you go look at it. If you type Google, you get like a bunch of them, and it's like it kind of gets you lost, and you have to find the ones that are very recent or have a decent deadline that you can actually apply to. So yeah, that's definitely a struggle for most creatives, but of course that's also a problem and a solution in itself. If you can find
Yeah.
stuff for yourself, then you can actually go and excel. There are grants out there like British Council, like mostly everywhere, even out here in India. We have a bunch of grants, and of course also the British Council that helps a lot of like creatives and the community apart from just the creatives as well. That's important because as much as we would like to say like money does not matter, it really makes things actually possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, one's like a grease. You know, when you have a machine and you put some grease, it just makes a function proper. You
Exactly,
know,
exactly. And I'm sure like creating fashion, acquiring all these materials firsthand, getting the people to make them is not, it's not cheap. It's not a cheap industry.
oh, especially in a climate like this in Nigeria, making clothes not cheap at all, to be honest. So like, cause labor is not cheap out here. That's why people need to understand the kind of value that our art wields. Which you get me? So like, to create out here is not cheap. You know, so when we put out something, it's like it has to be worth a lot.
And how do you go
It has
about like,
to.
sending these things outside? Like, is your market mostly inside Nigeria, or does it actually
No, I definitely have buyers out of Nigeria. Like I have buyers out of Nigeria. I have buyers from like all over the world. I've gotten like orders from the UK. I've gotten orders from US. You know, but like in the real sense of it, I personally can ship anywhere in the world. It's just DHL. Like it's easy. You know, it gets to you at your doorstep if you want it to be honest. And like for me, it's more of even creating is more of like you need to have the market for you need to put in the market for the world because there are Nigerians everywhere, there are Indians everywhere, there are like Americans everywhere. You know, so like I shouldn't be creating just for a certain demographic. You know,
100%?
I want my art to like reach the far ends of the world, and that's how I vision is when I create.
Yeah, of course. When you're creating, you cannot really restrict your creation aspect of it. It kind of is like more logistical and it's easier to probably ship to other places where you can have like a better competition or just availability of your stuff everywhere else. Do you also have a store of your own yet?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I have an online store, but like, I don't have a physical store. It's something that I need to work on is to get like a physical store, you know. And like as much as it is, even with my online store, the first website I had, like I had to take it down because of like some technical issues. This one is off of like this one is off of like a platform called Seller. They kind of like help like emerging brands like house their pieces and stuff, you know. So I'm still working on getting my own proper website, but like I need to get a physical store. But that's also um another tax in itself, you
Yeah,
know. But one more embedded right now is more of like having to like reach out to like retail stores around the world to house my pieces, like just more of like building the strength of the brand. So like it's more of like with proper names. Like yeah, maybe I can walk in, you can walk into a store and you see a Magilla piece and you see the next piece you see is a BC season piece. You get me? Like it has to be like I have to build the strength of my brand for it to like be in like more luxurious stores around the world.
100%. I think like that also gives that physical presence of someone looking at it, looking at the piece physically and interacting with it. Because online stores, like we are filled with online things that we see every single.
Yeah.
It gets really tough to like I can't personally shop online as much as I would love to. I just cannot like until I see a material or I understand what the build or fit is like for me.
Mm.
Also very picky, but like also not super fashionable, but super picky with like some basic stuff. But yeah, when then there's a physical presence, it's like another level of like interactive with the brand, and they also get to see what kind of stores you're put in. So it also helps your brand positioning quite a bit. Um,
Yeah.
Dude, especially for you, like you already have you have such good marketing for your brand because you've been worn by so many artists already and really successful ones at that. And I'm sure that also helps you just keep it in-house because of course when you get into like making your store, there's like other costs involved. How easy is it for you to open a store in Lagos right now and make it?
Yo, it's not easy at all to open a store in Lagos. It's like very expensive. Trust and believe. It is expensive. Lagos is an expensive city. Come on. Like, yo, that's why when I look at people doing shit out here and brands like doing things out here, I'll be like, yo, respect to you. To be honest, because like it's not in nothing is easy in Lagos, yeah. We just have a good way of like going about it. We just get into it and like have no fears about it. Just understand that, oh, we're just gonna make it happen.
What are some local brands in Lagos that like that you find like have just, been doing it regardless of like the troubles?
There are brands like Testy, there are brands like Ashlocks, there are brands like Iron Official. Yeah, there's a host of brands basically just going at it regardless of like what how difficult the terrain is. Just going hard, and that's the spirit. And when I see niggas go hard, when I see people go hard like that, I'm just like really inspired. I'll be like, we should really go hard like that. You know, if you want something, you go hard for it.
Yeah, 100% inspiring. It's inspiring when there are more creatives around you are just like going for it regardless. And it kind of gives you that strength, that borrowed strength to keep going further. When
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, there are doors. But I don't think like all these kind of problems affect you. Like you come off as like this person who's like really strong within themselves of like knowing that they will make it, knowing that they can make it. And like when you approach the desk with it, with that energy, it definitely takes away so much of the bullshit that comes in the way of like a creative, of like
Yeah.
insecure stuff. What was like, if you had to remember like the first time you had like that insecurity, and like when that switch happens of, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be insecure about this kind of thing anymore.
Mm.
But what was like those kind of the moments for you in your life?
I mean, those moments were like moments to learn from, to be honest. And like, I remember times where I used to feel like my art wasn't like where I wanted it to be. That's why it's very good to like inform yourself. It's very good to research because in the real sense of it, like nothing is perfect. The only perfect thing and the only thing that can ever be perfect is God. Anything we create can never be perfect. It can never be close to perfection. I see some Gucci pieces, I'd be like, oh, you guys made some mistake here. Like I look at anything, I was like, I can naturally be a critic because I mean, I feel like I like perfection. So I can naturally be a critic, but I've come to realize in the real sense of that nothing is perfect. You
Very good.
know, you can only make it as good as possible.
Yeah.
You know, because like that's how I was able to defeat whatever insecurity I had. Maybe looking at any brand at anywhere from anywhere in the world and understanding that, yo, these guys, you just need to appreciate whatever point in time you are at that point creating. Appreciate your journey.
Yeah.
Like just if you make a mistake, you learn from it, you move past it. You can only get better. Strive to be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like literally how I say it, like strive to be better than you were yesterday. If there was at any point in time I felt like, oh, I wasn't operating at my higher self or at my highest operational level, I just learned from it and understood that the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to be better. It's going to be better than the last thing I did. You know.
That's great, man. Because yeah, you're right. Like we kind of tend to forget that the people behind the screens are still people. And as much as we'd like for them to be like their perfect selves, everybody's just doing their thing. Nobody really knows what's up. Like they just try to do whatever they can to their best. And it's so easy to just like sit behind something and like fault someone, because yes, it's very easy to like see something from far out and actually catch a mistake. Yes, it's like very clear. But nonetheless, when someone is creating, they're so close to their thing, they cannot really see everything that one can see afterwards. They can also see it afterwards, just like how a person who's commenting on a piece can always see something afterwards. Even the person who's creating it can only see it afterwards. But the
Yeah.
beginning of creation is to actually end the creation, put it out, and then move to the next. And I think like it gets lost when you're like so removed from understanding that there are actual people who are doing like work to put things out there. And it's so easy to just like sit back and critique. But what is an amazing takeaway from that is like how you take it, which is, yep, they're trying their best. And yep, there's a mistake, but whatever as like
Yeah.
as possible. That's the most important part. And that's how you can do it for yourself and allow yourself to make those mistakes and then learn from it.
Yeah, just like appreciate the art of it. I remember like watching a documentary or story about Jimmy Chobaskia and like how he paid for a pack of cigarettes with his art. And apparently at that time, his art was like perceived as nonsense. Like it didn't have any value because he just like used to slap shit on the wall, like just did like crazy art. And like people were like, oh, they felt like art needed to be more coordinated, like it needed to be more like finessed and all of that. He just did shit all over the place, you know. And I'm just like, yo, this nigga's art is worth lots of money now. Like, yo, even like during the Watch the Throne era, Jay-Z and Kanye bought his art for like $1 million, you know. And like this is someone that at some point in time while he was alive, nobody thought he could make nice art.
We just paid him cigarettes. That's crazy to think about. That's something that really pinches me as an artist. It's like, um, there are so many artists that are alive and doing things that are great and did not get the right amount of recognition for it. And
Yeah.
yes, we can spend all our life, of course, appreciating the people who've passed and are great, but I think there needs to be a little more attention on people who are alive. It's just like, come on, if this person is
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, because like I do that myself. I see bare African brands out here and like put some. As much as I'm a fashion designer, I still do some intentional work to buy pieces from African brands or like from Nigerian brands. Because understanding that also I'm also a fashion stylist and I need to like put on African brands too. You know, like in the real sense of it, even if not like even if I'm creating my brand, like I see bare African brands and try to support too and
Yeah,
buy their shit, you know, because like we all know the terrain, like it's not really easy being a creative.
yeah.
So if you see art, appreciate the art for it and like pay the price for it.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100% believe that. Like, I also, I mean, not really a shopper generally, but whenever I see something really nice coming from around me, I make sure they get the price they're asking, or they get the kind of recognition that they really require. Like, I will
Yeah.
actually wear it 1,500 times and tell all the 1,500 people that ask, hey, where's that from? Like, just the smallest way, any way you can support. Like, firstly, you have to support with your pocket for sure. Because if you like it, go buy it. You know, that's somebody's
Yeah.
creation out there. And that's important to understand. Like, you can like something and then go buy something from an H&M. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you do have to kind of like give the people their flowers right when they are there, right in front of you.
For real, man. That's the spirit.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think I can connect with you in terms of like how deeply you have thought about what it is in being a creator. Because that really shows, man. Like, it shows from far out as to how well you have cultured your own understanding of being a creator, being comfortable with um mistakes, being comfortable with growth, being comfortable with the ideas of courage to also go out there in the toughest of the times, and coming out of your own personal struggles and putting them into better use. Like, I think that's a big sign of somebody who has cleared those small milestones of removing those insecurities and the challenges that are all mental, and then it comes to the execution challenges, because that's where things are not in your control. And you have to
Oh,
remove all of these problems to then get to those. Like, I can't even imagine when you're saying this, like when Nigeria was in such a hostile spot, where like hostile spot in the sense like there's no cash and there's like
mm.
very much unrest, and your governor is coming down to the bank on the same street that you are like doing your show. What were some of those surprises that like you guys got on when you were doing the reveal Lagos?
I mean, at that point it was like I don't even know how it happened, but I just feel like God just made it happen. You know, that's the point where you understand that whatever happened at that time, yeah. Because I remember the soldiers guarding the bank had to walked up to us, and because we put an imprint on the road, which is not like it's not legal. We put the imprints, reveal Lagos, put our company on the road, put my brand BCC on the road. They came with their guns, like trying to talk to the soldiers that were with me, telling them, "Oh, we can't do this." And they had to like start like having a discussion, trying to like tell each other, "Yo, like the guy with me was like the soldier with me was telling me, yo, like these are creatives. We need to let them exist. We need to let them work. These are the people that
That's
are going.
crazy.
These are the real ambassadors of our country." She
True.
get me. But he was telling that, yo, don't you see all these musicians, all these guys, all these fashion designers going around the world, making a good name for the country? Like that was the discussion at that time.
Wow.
And for me, it gave me so much joy that it was a situation that I tried to like create that brought that conversation. It's a very important conversation.
Wow.
Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Like
Because like
reflections of.
yeah, it's a very important conversation. And in the grand scheme of things, that conversation is very, very, very vital. It needs to be had. People need to understand how important in any part of the world creatives are. Because like I remember of recent, like, yo, I say this as a Nigerian and it saddens me because the guy that created our Nigerian flag passed on this year, and like the media was just quiet. Nobody said a thing. I didn't see no publication. I didn't see no tribute. I didn't see no art story. And it just boggles my mind. Like, are we focused on the wrong things? Are we focused on the wrong things as a people?
You would imagine
Like,
definitely more notice than that. But they passed this year, that's very recently, from the starting the creation of the flag.
like he was an aged man, you know, Patai Wakimuni. Like nobody says shit about him. I understand. Like this is a nigga that created a phenomenon. Like you know what? You know how important a flag is to a nation.
That's the one that unites the nation, of course. It gives you the
Bruh,
identity.
bruh.
That's the first thing that, like, like from your, like, that's one visual identity that's locked to you, like the attribute. Apart from your name, apart from like the location, you have like a visual tag, which is of your flag. It's so important. It
Yeah.
sticks. to-
Yeah, so like that the thing like something like that just really boggles. That's why I feel like we need to start having these conversations about creativity.
Yeah.
It's not about just about trying to make money or like trying to do shit or like trying to do whatever. Like the essence of bringing something to life. When it's God said, I don't know if anyone is religious, but I like to take things out of the Bible. I like to live. So I feel God is everywhere. I feel God is in Christianity, is in Islam, is in Buddhism, with Judaism, everywhere. But like as much as it is, when I came into this world, I was introduced into Christianity. So these are where the formative essence of my belief system. You know, then like I can lift from that because that is what I'm used to. If I was born into like um, a Jewish home or like a Buddhist home, I probably would be lifting from their spiritual books, you know. So in the Bible it was basically God said go ye for and multiply. When he said go ye for and multiply, it wasn't just to procreate or make kids. It was also to create the essence of living off and keep putting out things into the world that will live even after you're gone. Multiplication, even when you create a piece, like if you've done any art for anybody, that art is a creation of you, a piece of you. Is more of like an extension of you. However they view it, you were in a particular headspace trying to create that. That's mind work. And it's very important. Very, very important. If you can't undermine the importance of it in the grand scheme of things. So
Yeah.
when I was happy that conversations like that were like coming up, like because like we actually need to like
Really got
start.
that reaction actually, because I was imagining a completely different scene in my head. And to imagine like, like the job of a soldier or a job of somebody who's on the line, is like so much about following orders, following,
Mm,
because there's like so many layers to the hierarchy. You have to really
yeah,
follow the orders like a zombie. Um
yeah,
and the way that you got them to converse, and like, I mean, I don't know, it must be like a special soldier for sure who brought that point up, because it takes a certain level of understanding to defend from not doing your job and letting a creative do their job. It's so odd to hear that. Like, I'm so surprised the fact that that happened. And I'm sure everybody around there, when this was happening and like the soldiers convincing maybe his other soldiers around them, how did they how did they let you then continue? Because there must be like a
I mean,
consistent point that
at
they did like,
first, yeah, at first it was more of like they were stubborn and heady about it. The other guys, they had to like go call their superior.
yeah,
The superior came, but it was more of like the soldiers that were with me were so adamant. They were like, these guys are not doing anything wrong. They're not committing a crime. They're not doing anything wrong. You're going to let them be. And that was the spirit I was moving at. In my mind, I already like was feeling a way about it, like having to like be the one making them like, because the guys were like in the Air Force and those other guys were in the Army, and I was the one like I was feeling a type of way like having to like make them be at loggerheads at that point. But I felt like there was something that conversation was meant to happen. And when it happened, like it just made me feel like, and when they allowed us continue our show, I just really just let be and let go, you
that
know?
that must be epic. That must be an epic feeling to like to have like everything escalate and then somebody has your back from the other side.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
you run the show, then your show goes smooth because now you have an official confirmation, to be honest. Like, I mean, not
yeah.
unofficial, but a confirmation that okay, cool, at least for this
Yeah,
show,
we can do this.
oh, but yeah,
We
you
can do
can do
this.
this. They got you.
Yeah,
They got you with the gun.
yeah, yeah. It was like the feeling after was just like surreal for me. Like I had to box in it. I was like, oh, we're doing this for real. I missed everything. Let's just do it.
That
Let's
is,
do it.
then everybody around you and like your performers, like the show, everybody on the team must completely feel like this is like completely epic that you guys are all in one line and everything.
Yeah,
That must be
yeah.
dude, I can't imagine. And when was your did you say you had a second show of Reveal Lagos as well?
Yeah, I had second show like September 27th.
Oh wow, that's like now. And was it in Lagos Island as well?
Yeah, it was because it was a resort collection. We had to like transport people. Like it was more of a private show, so we had to transport people to a private beach resort in Lagos, the outskirts of Lagos.
Okay.
You know, yeah, we had to like take them to like go experience the show
How
in the
many?
roast and stuff. So my guest list, I had like 50 people at over 50, 53 people at the resort.
And all of this was like completely done by you, like backed by you, because it's a guest
Yeah,
list.
it was done by me, backed by me, but with support from a cop from NSB Entertainment and Giddy Autos, another company.
Okay. And how was this? How was NSB supporting this
It was
particular?
supporting with they supported with like money and also supported with talents on the team, and like also like because NSB has like a mini production set up and like they helped me with that too.
That's it. And where can like people find your shows? Do you guys have it all documented on YouTube? How do you guys do
No,
it?
it's not yet on YouTube. We just put them on Instagram. All the things we've done, like on Reveal Lagos on Instagram. On YouTube, not yet. Because like we just started this year. We're taking it a step at a time. Like even the first show, we just put our trailer to the documentary. We haven't finished the documentary for the first show. The
Right.
second one, we haven't even started the trailer. We just did the mini clip that we shot with our phone. Because like there's so much when you're embedded in so much. Like you just have to take it time. All these things like will still amount, like they'll still come out, but it still amounts to like the essence of it, like you understanding, like even when you do a bigger show and like there's some bigger production crew, more grace, more money, like it makes everything like it fast tracks everything, and like you understand that right now we're at a capacity where we can make things and like put out a documentary immediately, but all that is still like in the works.
Right. And you were saying you're planning a Reveal Lagos, another one, and is that going to be before the end of the year?
Yeah, we're doing one in December, by God's grace. We're trying to do that with like in collaboration with like Pi Radio. It's a UK radio in Manchester. It's a radio station in Manchester. So it's more of like a Lagos to London type of show where we're more of like music and like fashion. The intersection of music and fashion.
And this is going to take place in London, or
No,
will
it's
it?
going to take place in Lagos.
Okay, cool. All right, that's cool. London is famous.
Yeah, London to Lagos. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lagos and London is like
Like
that.
all the people coming in from Lagos, from London into Lagos,
Yeah,
they're coming to the show,
and do it the
trying
other
to
way.
drag them. Yeah, I mean, soon we'll probably be able to do it in London. Like take Lagos brands to London, or even in India, or
Yeah.
anywhere in the world.
You guys can be global for sure. I saw
Yeah, for sure.
super, super impressive. I saw all the stuff that you guys did this creative styling for. Of course, all the stuff that's online, that is. Um, I really like the one that you did with um, Kitty, right? If I'm getting
Yeah,
that right. Yeah,
yeah.
that was really clean, man. I personally like I see like if I had to be like a fashion person, that would like totally be up my style. That was really liking that kind of collection.
Mm. Thank
Totally.
you.
When I come to Lagos, I'm gonna come pay you guys a visit. I'm gonna see all your
Yeah, for sure. For sure, we're out here. Anytime you pull up, we'll be out here, to be honest.
yeah,
You
I'm
know?
gonna definitely when I come to
Yeah.
Lagos, it'll be really fun. I'm planning to do something there like in 2024. Um
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's amazing. One thing about Lagos is like more of like there's always reception for like the hospitality of Lagos. Lagos accepts anyone from around the world.
that's so nice.
Yeah.
India is a
Yeah.
little bit like that too. Like I think we are like very hospitable. Like people can come in and be like
Yeah, I definitely can understand that because like I know some Indians here, and my dad like God rest his soul. Like he worked for a company that employs a lot of like, Indians, like Dangote. Dangote is like the richest man in Africa.
right.
So my dad used to work for Dangote, and like most of his colleagues were Indians.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of friends whose parents were working in Lagos and they grew up there and
Yeah.
back here in India. There's also this another friend of mine here who lives in Goa, who I think like him and I play a lot of Afro music out here. Like we play a lot of Nigerian music, we'll play a lot of Ghanaian,
That's love.
lot of South African music. There's so
Mm.
many like small pockets where you will see a lot of Afro being played in India. That's also like one big scene that's happening, which is there's a lot of growth for African artists in this India market. The thing is, the market is just a lot of people, and a lot of people actually actively consuming this thing. And the challenge will be to see how African pop stars make it to this kind of market because it's just I've never seen a bunch of.
I mean, I seen Rema just performed at the stadium in Mumbai.
Yes, 100%. I saw my brother is a musician as well. He's a big guy out here, and he was performing with Rema in Hyderabad in India.
It's amazing. That's the cultures are connecting.
Yeah, definitely, man. I saw CK myself in February.
That's amazing. And like Bono Boy just did a song with a dude that passed away. God rest his soul. The rapper, the Indian rapper. Sing.
Sidhu
What's
Moosewala.
That's it. Yeah, see do.
Yeah, they had recorded that before, and then once, I mean, when he passed away, he had that whole tribute video to it. I think that's a very cool one. Also, it's
Yeah.
called Mira Na. Yeah, that was cool. And I mean, to be honest, in India, as much as we would like to say he was popular, he wasn't as popular as like the regular artists that would get the light.
Yeah.
I think he was way more popular in the scene with like Burna or like with Drake, because apparently he also had another track with Drake. And
What's
when
amazing?
Drake had also done that on stadiums.
Mm,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
There are a lot of amazing Indian artists that are taking towards this whole new wave of Afro beats and Afro house, and there are some who are doing amapiano, I would say. but we're gonna see that coming up in this year for sure. I'm a
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Or to be honest, I'm all about connecting cultures because I feel like I said in the interview, the whole writer would be about BCCs and just being understanding that lifestyle from Africa, and like I feel like everyone in the world is African in some sorts, you know. So it's always beautiful to see that the art from here like has a more of like a cross cultural connect, you know, because like people can understand it because it feels like it feels very relatable.
yeah.
That's one thing about music, about creation. Like you don't need to be from a particular place to like understand what is being created there.
Yeah. And I think like specifically with African music too, it's so relatable. Like at the baseline, we all feel it. And I think like
Mm,
it's the same way. And there's something so different. Like you do not feel that with many different types of music. Like I don't think the like a very French orchestra type of sound relates to everyone
mm,
the same way. A
yeah,
simple Afrobeat sound, just a simple, just give me a percussion and everybody can feel and understand it the same way. It's very
yeah,
hard to get
real,
many other genres, but I think African genres have it like so on lock. It's so primitive to feel that and like to feel it all the way inside you. Like it's super, super amazing. I mean, that's how I got drawn into the African music. I was in school when I heard a set which had like, very early Davido, very early Biscuit,
mm,
where Tubaba. And I was like, dude, this
ah,
something else. This is very different. Like also a lot of Azonto music. It's just like so energetic, but also like you can also like understand it in your own time. And it's one amazing thing about it is like it's also happy. It definitely has
yeah,
the tones of just
for
happiness,
sure.
joy. The way that it's so infectious. And
For
I think
sure.
everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting it more and more.
I'm, I'm more than happy to like keep spreading the gospel, to be
Yeah,
honest, because like I feel like everyone should experience good music.
yeah, man. Everybody should. Everybody's getting more access now. It's better, 100%, man. Um, Tell me more about how you vision in like music for you. Like I think like it's like we talk so much about you in fashion and the way that you are as a creator and like creative direction is so like for musicians it's just different. And of course, with the knowledge of like understanding how creativity works and how creation works, it is much easier to direct somebody into it. But like I would just like to know some personal notes on how this the family project came around. Like how did you actually nurture in Anarchy, or like what are the kind of inputs that they were required or you did have to get out of the way from or something like that?
Also, the thing is, like with family, the song was already like done by Aniki before she was even signed, before she met us. You know,
Okay.
the only thing we had like an input was like how the song was like mixed or mastered, or like how the visuals were like portrayed, you know. And like I said, it's always been a team work with NSB Entertainment. Like that's at the core of like our ethos, team, family.
Mm.
So it was like little wonder that family was the first song that was chosen to be put out, you know. So like it was just basically input from everyone on the team, to be honest. Like series of meetings. We can go on and on about the process, but like you need to be in the process with the process.
Yeah, a lot of people doing Zoom meetings with nothing nowadays. Like
Yeah.
so many meetings. You just gotta get to the work. Like I think after pandemic, everybody got used to just being on like meetings and meetings, just discussing things.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything. You might as well talk about it. It's yeah, it can always be that. And especially with creation, it's endless. Like every 2 days of
Yeah.
I think you guys did a very spectacular job with the video because it was very, very
Thank
professional.
you.
First
Thank
time.
you. Shout out to Film Forever. You're like the visual directors, because like I remember times where we're like in series of meetings trying to like bomb like just get ideas on how to like create the video and like make it in unison. Because like we had series of meetings like NSP team and Film Forever, like their input was like really spectacular, you know. I remember putting my inputs, like taking lifting from like other videos, like other like references, which were like really embedded in the final project. I mean, I remember like saying a couple of things that like they took into consideration. Like they were that's one thing about them, they are very good listeners. Film Forever are very good listeners. So they are it's like they are the ones that handle like the visual aspects of NSB Entertainment. So like they try to listen to what everyone has to say and like come back with like feedback, and like feedback and feedback upon feedback upon feedback, We'll just let them know that, oh, this is what we want, this is what we want, this is how we want it to look like. So it's like having a team that like understands feedback,
Yeah,
it's
that's what we
everything for
talked
me.
about earlier as well, which is like you have to be secure in understanding what the process of creation is, to understand feedback
Yeah,
and to actually integrate it for the better good, which is like when everybody's aligned for the project, it has to be the better good for the project. Um,
yeah,
and it's very helpful to have somebody like creatives who can understand and like take that. That's cool in that way when you have a team like that, because
yeah,
it's tough, man. It's tough because like when you're creative, right? Like I was saying, it's like sometimes your ego can get in your way. Like, why are they telling me how to do? But the
yeah.
best like
That's
collaboration.
true, but like I feel like real creatives, as much as we have like our egos, yeah, we need to actually put our ego on a leash because, like I said, it's a product, and you need to really understand what the market is going to like, what is going to the market, what they want to receive, and it has to be in tune with whatever story or whatever message you're trying to portray with our product, you know. So yeah, like you have to put your ego on leash because feedback is very essential.
Good. You've given so many things to, I think like when somebody hears this or like watches this whole thing, by the end of it, I think as a person they, like everybody can come out with so many things that they can put into like their regular way of thinking that can help overpass like so many small obstacles, like brain obstacles that can come in their way. And I think you speak with so much understanding and practice with all these thought processes. It's not just something that you've thought about. You can see it in the way that you go about creating your stuff, go about creating reveal Legos, without the much help or from the applications that you went through with multiple fashion weeks and stuff. You still went ahead and did your own thing, or going up to people, talking about your product, even if it's just one of those, the first one, but going ahead with the confidence. I think like it speaks so much, and I'm sure it's going to speak to a lot of creatives who are probably in their middle of their careers or like just starting their careers, or somebody who's just thinking ahead, because there's so many things to learn from just the process that you guys have been doing there. It's super commendable.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I think like we talked about a lot of things today, and I would like to also keep it like bite size so that everybody can also like get used to long form.
Yeah,
One thing that was important to me was like how I was saying, right? Like people need to appreciate and look at people who are doing things in real life, like not talk about them only when they are gone far long, or like give the flowers when people are right there. And
yeah,
like one of those windows for me to talk to people like you, to talk to people and creatives like you who are doing things in real time, and also track your growth. So like we can keep coming back to it when you do more and more, like the more milestones you cross.
yeah,
Like we'd love to have more updates on like how you're doing.
yeah. I'll be more than glad to come back
This is
on your podcast, to be honest, because like it's more of like a very like like comfortable space to express yourself, because like not many people have access to me, so like I feel like being here, like people can have access to what I can say, people can understand like my thought process and like how I can express myself in real time.
it's
So
important to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
like like it's so important for us to know the people who are doing things. Like it's cool to just see a post and find it really cool, but it's another thing to like really understand all the things that go behind like coming up with creation, coming up with the multiple roles that you play. It's not easy to segregate time like that. and
Yeah.
really appreciate all the work that you do, man. And I must put a note that when you reached out to me as well, like for on the page for
Mm.
the family, the song "Family" to me, it was so nice because that's really how I appreciate, like, people should just reach out, because I do that a lot when I see somebody or a page or like an artist that I really like. I just love to reach out, and that's like the best way to go about it, is to just not have any hesitation and just hit your spots, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Appreciate.
mean, I'm always more than ready to go for it, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I can see that. I can see that. You're
Yeah.
definitely on that wavelength of going for it. And I think that's
Yeah.
very commendable, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time you've taken out for doing this. And I'm sure a lot of people who'll hear this will get super inspired and will wanna follow your journey and go along with you on that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, I'm so glad you came. Um, and with
Yeah.
that, I would like to shut the door. If you want to say anything to creatives, like give them a last note, and then we can call it, then I would love to open it up for you.
What would I would say? I'll just tell them to be in tune with their truest self, you know. And like there's so much going on in the world. Like it's so easy to get lost in the sauce, you know. But like when you're in tune with your core, with your truest self, then expression is very seamless. Yeah. So like, I mean, just be you, do you.
That is so humble of you. Like throughout the interview, I think like, I've just been trying to get some specific things out of you, but like you're so humble, I don't think you can even like understand the complexities of how well that thought is already formed in your head. And for you, it's like,
Yeah.
do you? And everybody's like, I'm trying. Like, but these small things, and it's like you've sorted them out. So it's like, yeah, do you? But it's so stumbling.
Yeah, I mean, like they definitely would do them. To be honest, like that's 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 all I can say. Be you, do you? Because like I feel like out there's someone out there to appreciate you for you.
Yes, 100%, 100%. There's always an audience, and sometimes you just got to present it in a different place to get the appreciation you need. But meanwhile,
Yeah.
you have to be you and you have to do you.
Yes, so very important.
Very important, bro. All right. Thank you for being on this, bro. I'm so
All right,
glad
it was my pleasure. My
you.
pleasure, my bro.
And I will see you soon.
All right, cheers, my bro.
Cheers, bro. Have a good one.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Bye.